Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for yet another what we really learned from the past Chelsea game. And this time, Liverpool 0, Chelsea 1. What a huge dub that was. I was so gassed last night. If any of you watched my player ratings live stream, I was handing out 9s and 10s and 11s and 12, left, right, and centre. I had no shame. There was no shame left to be involved. It was just great. It was just great. As you can see, I'm not by myself. I'm joined by the man himself, by Mr. Jam. Dan McCarthy will join us in a couple of minutes' time. But Jam, let me get to you first. How are you? How did you enjoy that game last night?
I'm completely gassed, man. What a start to the weekend. Honestly, I'm counting that as part of the weekend. I don't care. I mean, I got myself into a bit of a state before the game where I was thinking, do you know what? Look at that starting 11 they've got. Oh, all their guys are back. Oh, if we lose this, we're going to be out the top 4 race. Just putting up polls left, right, and centre, asking for people's opinions. And what happened? Chelsea turned up. Chelsea actually turned up. The real Chelsea Football Club turned up. And I'm just so proud of the players. I'm so gassed, man. I'm in a great mood to answer your question. How about you, man? How you doing?
Honestly, no, I'm exactly the same. Like, last night's been great. Today's been great. Like, it's all just been bloody brilliant. I'm just gassed about it. And it's weird because obviously for the last couple of weeks, I'm not saying I was criticizing it or moaning about it too much, but I was just asking the question, we need to find a solution to not scoring goals. Well, if we score at least 1 and don't concede 1, I'm okay with that. If we win the remaining 11 games 1-0, hey, I'm fine. And maybe we'll even challenge City. Who knows? But,
05 settings, mate. 05 settings.
There you go. There you go. That's exactly it. Like, as long as we keep keeping clean sheets, obviously it wasn't like that against Southampton, and 12 we dropped points. And we score at least 1. I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. But of course, at some point, we need to click into gear. But last night wasn't that night when that had to happen. We were going away to Anfield. It doesn't really matter whether, they were in poor home form, whether they're in poor form in general. Clearly, the game wasn't exactly easy. We made it somewhat easy in terms of defending because they didn't have a shot on target until the 85th minute. But at the end of the day, it wasn't easy per se, right? It wasn't an easy breezy game. And we had to be good. Like Thomas Tuchel said after the game, we had to be on it in every, sense of the words. And yeah, we could have made more use of some of our counter-attacking chances. Whether the whole VAR thing, we'll get into that with Dan in a minute, but dodgy. But at the same time, I'm like, I still think Liverpool probably should have had a penalty for the Kante handball. At least I thought they were going to get it when the hand. Yeah, exactly. Like, if your arm's up there, you can't complain if you get a pen against you, really. I guess it evens itself out in that way, in that sense. And then we took that one big chance that we had outside of that, out of the maybe Timo Werner one or two, yeah. But in general, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. And I want to get again to it quickly when Dan turns up, but just quickly to get your thoughts on it as well. What did you think when the lineup was actually announced? Because I was a little bit, I won't say confused, but surprised is maybe the better word, because I didn't expect Kante and Jorginho, to start together. I also, when I first saw it, I thought, is this a false 9? Is this like we played against Spurs? Obviously, when Mount played that false 9 role. It turns out it wasn't. Also, Reece James and Chile, the more defensive of our options that we have. It was interesting. What did you think when the lineup came out?
Yeah, do you know what? I've learnt with Tuchel that actually it should just be surprise and not disappointment with a lineup. Honestly, we can't be disappointed with the results that we've had. So I was surprised too. I was thinking the one player that got to me was Ziyech. I was just thinking, is he really warranting a starting spot right now? And in my head, I actually would have gone Timo Werner up front too. I put my lineup beforehand. And I was thinking, Liverpool, high line, with those centre-backs over the top. Just keep going. OTT. So I was really happy with that. But I thought I'd put alongside him some more pace. I thought I'd go with maybe Pulisic or Callum Hudson-Odoi was the obvious one. He's over his injury. I thought he was fit. He was the surprise, not to be starting. But I actually agreed with Reece James, right wing back. I guess another surprise was Chilwell. I thought he was going to play Alonso, but it makes sense. And I thought Jovic would start. I just had the feeling we'll try and control possession a little bit. But then this is such a big game. How dare I think Kante wouldn't start in this game, honestly. I mean, his performance after that, that was all you had to see. So, yes, I was surprised, but in the end, pleasantly surprised. Correct team. Flawless.
Exactly. And on that note, not only have we just heard your thoughts, I'm going to get that Mr. Dan McCarthy thoughts about the lineup straight involved. And he's not just here. He's also here wearing his Chelsea top. Bro, how are you? Good to see you.
Yes, Dad.
Jam, what's going on? How are we doing, guys?
All good, mate. All good. How are you?
All good, brother.
Good. Talking Chelsea, Liverpool, are we?
Exactly. We was just going through the lineup, actually, what we thought of that when it came out. I saw your tweet, actually, after the lineup came out, and you were saying Kante, Jorginho together, interesting, fair enough. And now it kind of puts us into an even more precarious position because now, at least under Tuchel, we have 3 pivot options which have all worked. So that makes the selection headache even bigger, I guess.
That's probably why Tuchel's the manager and we're not, right? I mean, he sees things that we don't see. And again, he has the luxury of seeing them in training every day, right? And clearly that's something they've been working on. It hasn't just happened, right? He hasn't just thrown them in at Anfield away and gone, that'll work. Like, it's something they've clearly worked on. He's very big on rotation, as we know, and tinkering. And yeah, I was very intrigued to see how that battle would work. But I also tweeted at the same time that, I don't know if I tweeted or I included it in my review article, but it wasn't really a game for the midfield yesterday because it was going to be such a transitional pace game where Liverpool were playing in behind, we were playing in behind, and that's why the midfield wasn't really that necessary, and that's why Thiago struggled so much for Liverpool, right? I mean, Jorginho's got his keys, his wallet, and I think Thiago in his pocket somewhere, but yeah. So actually, we didn't actually have to worry about it in the end, right? It was, but yeah, what a game! So much fun.
Honestly, what a game, what a performance. And like, you don't get better than winning at Anfield. I don't care, no fans, their home form, I touched on this a minute ago. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We haven't won at Anfield in the Premier League since 2014, 7 years. To get that dub is huge. It's absolutely huge. Other than that, was there any big surprises for you in that lineup? Maybe Chilwell starting over Alonso, Reece James over Hudson-Odoi, the front 3 as a whole, Ziyech getting another start after a, let's say, lackluster performance against Manchester United, particularly in the first half. That was the main one that surprised me, plus maybe Jorginho rather than Kovacic. Those 2 were the biggest surprises to me, at least.
Yeah, I think the only wasn't surprised about the back at all. I was pretty confident that Chilwell was starting. I did hear from a couple of people that Callum was supposed to start, and then thank God I don't tweet out team news anymore because if I tweeted that, I won't be on here now. So I heard from a couple of people that he was going to start instead of Reece James, and then Reece James ended up starting. So surprised in that way, but not surprised in the reasons why, right? Tuchel said he wanted his power and his pace. Makes total sense against, Mane. Callum's obviously brilliant and shown that he could play there, but I would worry against him against someone who's so ferociously forward-thinking like a Mane or a Salah, right? I don't think Callum's quite there yet in terms of the defensive side. So yeah, it made sense. The only surprise was probably Ziyech. But I also get it at the same time, it's Ziyech, he possesses obviously star quality. And if you drop him after one bad performance, he seems like one of them players, right? That if his confidence is gone, he can really struggle. So I think Tuchel, trusting him again, in the end, it didn't really matter. Thank God. But yeah, no, that was the only surprise I would say, Laurenz, is Ziyech starting again. But I understood why he did it. And fortunately, it worked out in the end. But I was glad to see Pulisic on 60, 65 for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just to put it there in the chat, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this right now, be sure to subscribe. That'd be brilliant. Check out both of these guys in the description below. Also, Jam, of course, on the Chelsea social. Just click the @ in the description below. Subscribe, do all of that kind of stuff, become a member, whatever else. But just as said here, Ziyech was probably played for the ball over the top. And I would have agreed with that when the team came out. But then how the game played out, Ziyech was kind of next to Werner half the time until the long balls were played. So I'm like, how was he meant to play the balls over the top if he was the guy that was with Werner half the bloody time? So, hey, it worked out in the end, so I'm not complaining at all. I just still don't really see what he tried to do with Ziyech on the pitch. Don't fully see it. Obviously, he had a huge chance to nearly made it 2-0 in the second half. Fair play. But yeah, other than that, I mean, in the first half, obviously, I only know the stats for the first half because, this guy here literally showed it. So in the first half, Mount had 35 touches, Werner had 17, and Ziyech had 10. So I was like, not really getting involved. As much as we tried to target the left side, fair enough. But still, if you're a creative player, try to get involved a bit more. And I was lacking that. I was lacking that against United already. But hey, like I said, at the end of the day, it worked out and we can't really complain. And I want to get, first of all, from you, Jam, Dan, Jam, I'm confusing to me, I tell you.
I swear that's happened a few times on live streams.
It literally has, mate.
Hey, you're riling my brain, I'm telling you. But because the game was interesting in the sense that we didn't like sit back and let them do whatever they wanted, but we were a little bit further back on the pitch and a little bit more happy to give the ball to the opponent than we have been in any other game under Tuchel so far. Obviously, we haven't really played any team on the ball as good as obviously Liverpool, so that is a reasonable explanation. But like I said, it wasn't a case of that we just sat back. We just soaked up pressure very well. And Tuchel said this a couple of times post-game, even pre-game, that there will be moments where, we will have to suffer, but there will be other moments where we need to make sure we get the ball so we can get a bit of a breather, because you can't always run after the opponent. Like, it tires you out, and that's why aggressive teams usually tend to get late goals, because the opponent that's defending for a long time, they usually get tired, concentration drops and whatever else. So it was important that we had part of the game where we had good possession, and we had that. And that's what I enjoyed so much about yesterday's game, that we really showed that we could do both things. We could attack with the ball, move forward. Obviously, we didn't score from that. But for example, Ziyech's chance early in the second half was create a lovely piece of football. But then we also had the chance with the balls over the top, whether it was the goal, whether it was the offside goal by Werner. We really did it all yesterday, other than maybe score more than one. It was honestly brilliant. But did you, Jam, like I said, let me try to get with you first. Did you think we would set up like that? Did you think we would be more defensive? Did you think we would be more aggressive like we have been in pretty much every other game? And then in the end, would you have done anything different? I know it's weird to say that. Would you have done anything different if we win the game, right? But obviously, there is still a case to be made that the last 15 could have been a bit, less tense, shall we say.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I was really, really proud of the way we set up. It was functional. It was a functional team. Not only was it functional in the players that were playing, but it was functional in the way that we played. So when Liverpool had good possession, we were pretty deep. There was no space in behind. They tried the ball over the top a few times. Mendy came out and just swept it up, or a defender would be able to cut it out. And that's what you need to do against Liverpool. At the same time, you need to vary your game with balls over the top, over their defence to push them back, but also being comfortable in keeping good possession when you have it and looking after that ball. There isn't really an awful lot I would have changed, really, other than, I mean, Dan said it earlier. Pulisic coming on around the 65th minute or whatever it was exactly what I was crying out for. I knew pace would kill them at that moment. It's a shame I don't think he got involved as much as he usually would have, but maybe it could have been starting with pace, but then the effect of pace coming off the bench was still massive. So, yeah, I don't think there's an awful lot I would have changed. I just think it was a flawless performance. I can't really say much else, to be honest. We sat deep when we had to, but we attacked and we let them know about us when we had to. The way that there was a clip going around earlier, I saw on Twitter, of the way that we played out from, I think it started at Reece James, at like the bottom right of the pitch for us, if that makes sense. And we just played through one touch, got it all out, all the way to Chilwell, who then had a cross and it was blocked by Trent. But the way we played out was absolutely brilliant. So we were confident in possession and confident out of possession. And I haven't seen that for a while. Both of them in a good balance like that in a big game. I can't figure the last time we played like that, honestly. It was brilliant.
It really was brilliant. And even Ashley Cole obviously mentioned that in his post-match analysis, whatever you want to talk about. Yeah, I'll get to you in just a second, Dan, because that's exactly what he highlighted as well. In his opinion, probably the best performance in terms of playing out from the back. I'm not just going to, try to be a Jorginho fanboy, but in my opinion, that's why Jorginho is a difference on being on the pitch to, say, Kovacic and Kante together, when actually we kind of lack someone to drop there and help us with passing out from the back at times.
The Italian Barry White. He was on it yesterday.
He was brilliant. Kante was brilliant. They were all brilliant yesterday, other than maybe Ziyech. But everyone else, like whoever the Chelsea TV interviewer was talking to Ben Chilwell after the game, saying there was no one lower than an 8 out of 10, really. But Dan, first of all, what did you make of the tactics approaching the game? Obviously, I think we can all agree that it worked out perfectly well. And then I want to get your thoughts, because you touched on the Pulisic coming on after 65 minutes. But again, like Jam said, he kind of struggled. Again, a little bit like Ziyech, kind of struggled to get involved much. Struggled to get on the ball. And also, maybe you have a better explanation for it than I have, because I don't have one. Where are Havertz and Pulisic? Why are they not starting games? I don't really understand. I know we win games and that's all well and good. But still, it's weird that Pulisic is the only guy of all of these players that hasn't started a Premier League game yet. And I know injuries play a little bit of a part, or, worry of injuries, but still, I still find it a bit weird. But go with the tactics and everything first, and then we get on to that.
Yeah, perfect. Well said on the Ashley Cole things. That's why I did that, because I was going to mention that too. That Ashley Cole on the Sky Sports podcast, which I listen to quite depending on who's on there, to be honest. He summed it up very well. I've not seen, and I'm trying not to be as biased. I always try to be balanced and rational, as you guys know. But I don't remember the last time, apart from City, of course, that Liverpool got played off the park at Anfield like that. Like they just usually when you watch Liverpool at Anfield, right, or you're playing against it, you're just waiting for them to score. You're waiting for them to suck the cop end to suck it in the net, right? But yesterday there wasn't really that many times where I was like, oh no. So that was great. Tactically, yeah, spot on. I think you said earlier, Laurenz, that we didn't really sit off. First 15 minutes, Liverpool were sharp. They started very quickly, and I think Tuchel knew that. And I think if you watch a lot of Liverpool games, they always start quick. And I think Tuchel knew that. He knows Klopp very well, and he knows how Klopp's teams play. It's rock and roll, right? And I think Tuchel was happy to give up possession. I wrote that in my review. He was happy to give up possession just to kind of – because if you ride out the first 10, 15 at Anfield, you're already halfway there, really, because they start so fast and they finish so strong. So, yeah, I think he was fully aware of just get it 0-0, break the game up. It's very common for coaches to break up the game. I do it myself sometimes. I break up the halves in halves, right? First 15, 20, don't concede, and then can we push on? So I do that a lot, and I think that's what Tuchel did. First 15, 20, don't concede, and then can we go from there? And then you saw around the 20th mark, right? We were opening up more. We were playing out the back. We were more fluid. We were risking a little bit more, and it was just absolute masterclass. I just knew Klopp inside out. Knew what they were going to play, and just really snuffed them out. It was in terms of I don't know if this was a tactical one. Something else I put in my review was Mendy was playing a sweeper keeper role. Did you notice how many times Mendy swept up the ball at the back? And I think that was maybe Tuchel giving him the instruction to come off his line and just sweep that up, because Liverpool were clearly looking for the space in behind Chilwell and James, because they're both attacking fullbacks. Fair enough. Tactically it was a really fascinating game to watch, and I was gutted for Werner. Absolutely gutted. The poor guy, I tweeted before the game, it would have been so romantic if he scored, and he did. Nearly swore there, but he did score, and I'm still sticking that's onside. It's absolute shambles. That's offside. And the Fulham one, I know we weren't going into it, but yeah. So and then eventually Mason, what a goal. Moving on, yes. So tactically spot on. Second half, the unit, it was like Mourinho, wasn't it? It was like Mourinho parking the bus all over again. It was Liverpool could have been there for 4 hours. You were never breaking that unit down, and it just shows you right how important tactics and coaching is, because he's made Rudiger and Christensen look like Baresi and Maldini. It's incredible. Yeah. So I'm a big fan. I think yesterday's game was the game where I was like, okay, Tuchel's for real. Atletico was great, but this was Tuchel's for real. And we'll come to that later, but. Yeah, Pulisic. I actually agree with him. I actually agree with Tuchel keeping Pulisic on the bench. I think Pulisic right now, this will change. I think coming towards the end of the year next year. I think right now he gives us more off the bench, in the respect of his pace, energy, and I think yesterday the reason he didn't get involved as much because when he came on, Liverpool were kind of in the flow of things. I think Liverpool had good moments between the 65th to 75th, 80th minute. Liverpool, and we were very deep. I don't know if you saw Tuchel on the side, but he was screaming, get up, get up. And I tweeted, and I don't know if I tweeted or I wrote in my review, but at half-time I was saying to myself, Chelsea, don't bunker. Don't sit back. Otherwise they're going to get us. They will get us. And, Chelsea were brave. We carried on playing out the back. Jan mentioned a moment earlier when it was 5-6 passes, being brilliant. And if Liverpool saw that, which they did, they naturally will go, oh, whoa. We might not be able to press it. And as soon as you get Liverpool not pressing, you've got them. If you can pin Liverpool back, you're flying. So, yeah, I think Pulisic had moments. He worked hard. He won a couple of 50-50s, a couple of headers, which were great. He done his job. But I think because Liverpool were having control of the ball, that's why we didn't see as much of him. So I don't think it's really his fault. I think he even offered more than Ziyech probably did in them last 20, 30 minutes. And then Havertz, I tweeted on Havertz. I'm really excited to see him play. Everyone's talking about the false nine, right? But when Werner plays that well up top on his own, there's no need for Havertz, right? The only place I can see Havertz now is maybe in the 10, or as that shadow striker. I still would like to see him try the false nine because Werner's He's not. I know people were saying he's back and he's there. He's not. Let's slow down a little bit, but yeah, I really want to see the Germans link up top. That'd be really fun. But yeah, tactical masterclass from Tuchel. He couldn't have done any better. That's fantastic.
Honestly, it really was absolutely brilliant. I think the only where I come from with Pulisic, I see it as well. When he plays, you see why he probably doesn't start half the time. Even the Barnsley game, the one start he did have, and even when he comes on the bench, I see what you're saying. Obviously, he brings us some pace that others don't have. But does he bring us more pace than maybe Callum would have coming from the bench, who we, of course, both had on the bench? I'm not 100% sure. Pulisic is more direct, sure. But in terms of pace, dribbling ability, on current form, I would back Callum probably over Pulisic because Pulisic just struggles a little bit at the moment. Like you said, he won 50-50s, he won some headers, which is all good to see. And, you need to start somewhere and build it up from somewhere. But the Kai one, again, I wish some of these journalists just asked more the harder questions. I'm like, where is he? He's too good to just not play all the time. I know the system doesn't maybe fully suit what Hubbard is really good at, other than the false nine, and maybe as long as he doesn't really want to do that, I see it. But still, he doesn't even get minutes. He came on for 2.5 yesterday. He came on for 10-5 against Atletico. He didn't come on at all against Man United, and that's why I think it's a bit weird. And I don't want to make this about all negative. We beat bloody Liverpool yesterday. I'm very happy. I just want to understand it. That's all where I'm coming from.
I think, just quickly, I'll jump in. I think Tuchel's been very smart with how he manages Havertz. I think taking the expectation away, taking the pressure away, you've got to be, Havertz is some player, but you've got to be some character to not be playing much, not be playing well, and then come in and play well at Anfield. And I think Tuchel recognised that. I think there's going to be a better opportunity and a better moment to get Kai in rather than throwing him in deep end against Anfield. He struggles again, and it's another setback. I think Tuchel's been very smart with how he manages Havertz, and he's going to put him in where he can, he can do well. And then because Havertz needs confidence, right? So we might see him more in cup games, and then weaker opposition. I would say we've got a couple of good runs coming up right now. So I think he's been very smart, and I also think he's been very smart with Pulisic. I agree with your point, Laurenz. On form, Callum's the better option, right? But I think he took the opportunity to rest Callum when he can, because I think Callum will start against Everton. I do see that. And I also think that he's got to keep Pulisic happy, right? He's got to let Pulisic know that he's going to get a chance and he's, he has an opportunity to break the team. So I think it's not as black and white, right, as, put him in there. I think Tuchel is what apparently Lampard wasn't, what we've heard now, right? He's a very good man manager. He's very communicative. He's very open. He's telling players why they're playing, why they're not playing. And with Chelsea's dressing room, Chelsea's super, we've heard it all, right? You've got to be very good at managing the players. You've got to be very good.
That is true. That is true. My only, and I get to jam for that argument, because you could make the same case for Hakim Ziyech, really, before Man United. Is this the game to throw him in when he hasn't really featured? Whenever he has, it kind of struggled. But he took the risk against United with him, and then took the risk arguably again against Liverpool, because, like I said already, he wasn't particularly great at all against Man United, especially in the first half. But he did it. Obviously, Ziyech is older. He's about to turn 28, I think. Or has turned 28 already, one of the two. So he's not exactly young anymore. So it's very different. So Kai Havertz, who is, of course, 21. Very different situation, even if potential, obviously, Kai Havertz is far superior. But I see it. But still, if he's happy to do it with Ziyech, is that just almost throwing Ziyech under the bus, but protecting Kai so much? How do you see it, John?
Yeah, I think you mentioned it's the age. I think someone that's 21 will naturally need more protection, than someone that's older, later on in their career. Ziyech has been under pressure before multiple times. I'm sure he can handle it. And you've just got to think that Kai really, when is the last time he had a good run of games? It's a long time ago. And you're really not going to throw him in, like Dan said, against Liverpool or even against Man United. And to an extent, if you go even further to that, when Ziyech wasn't even playing, why fix something that isn't broke? Unfortunately, some people are going to lose out in this formation. We have one less attacker on the pitch, and it's a bit peak for them. It really is. But let's just say Pulisic and Havertz would need a little bit more protection in that sense than Ziyech. And I think, what was the injury that Havertz actually picked up recently? Was it a thigh injury or something?
Did they even specify? I don't even know if they ever specified, to be honest. I don't know. Do you know, Dan?
I believe it was, thigh, hamstring. It was that upper leg area, I believe. But I've heard a couple of things like, was it more take him out the limelight, give him. So I don't want to comment definitively on that, but yeah, I would say it maybe had a little niggle, but I do think there was a bit of, man management on that one.
Yeah.
There was a couple of reports coming out, I think the other day, where someone said, again, not 100% sure how to say trustworthy they are, but they said that Kai has actually been left out in terms of making sure he's mentally all right. And, now if you're hinting at that, maybe that kind of, is the same thing. Who knows? Like, I don't know. So, it's a bit of speculation, I guess, but it might be that. And hey, if Tuchel felt like that was necessary, then I'm sure it was, because otherwise he wouldn't have taken that decision. Because Tuchel, as we've seen with the formation that we play, with the tactics in some of the games, he's clearly out to not get goal after goal after goal and have the best goal difference in the world. He's out to make sure to get results, because seemingly, at least from how he's been speaking and how he's been acting, he really wants that contract to be extended. And obviously, as we know, he has a clause. If he makes top 4 this season, his contract automatically gets extended by a year. I'm not sure if it's automatically, but it's a clause regardless, right? So that is only brilliant. Before we get onto speaking about a few players individually, and there are a few that we have to mention after last night's game, I do want to, and I don't want to make it all about that, but I do want to talk about VAR for a minute. Because obviously Dan's mentioned it already, and like, how on earth is this not a goal? I'm not sure whether we should have a go at the refs or the rule making, because this whole sleeve thing is the dodgiest thing I've ever seen in my life. How can you go by a sleeve? And like I tweeted last night, let's just make a sleeveless shirt then, if that's how it goes, because then we're not offside anymore. Like, exactly. Yeah. Like, just roll it up or something. Like, do something about it, because that's just the weirdest rule I've ever seen. And I want to get your thoughts on that as well, Dan, because I agree, harsh, because the whole frame thing, and did Jorginho even touch the ball in that moment when they drew the line? Was the line fully straight? Did it go to his elbow? Did it go to his sleeve? Who the hell knows? Actually, are you allowed to score then with that part of your shirt if you also can be like onside with that part of your shirt? Because am I allowed to score like that then? Is that what the rule says? They've changed the handball rules again today. Who the hell knows what's going on? But I will also say, I do still think Liverpool should have had a pen for the Kante one. So, with that, and maybe it is even a case that the ref saw it at halftime, was like, obviously the ref didn't actually go to see it himself. VAR told him offside, right? So he didn't see it. So you never know. He might have been in a situation where, like, maybe that should have stood, and maybe he would have given a pen then. I don't know. I'm just maybe speculating a little bit and reading too much into it, but I was very surprised at that penalty not being given, in particular after all the drama that happened after the Hudson-Odoi moment against Manchester United. We know how much media influenced VAR the referees usually are. I mean, just the fact that Manchester United don't get penalties anymore now that everybody said they get too many penalties, says enough, really. And the fact that we didn't get it again, I don't know. But about the ref in general, obviously there was the one moment where Mane didn't fall over when he clearly could have done after a little contact with Christensen, and probably that is a pen if he goes down. Don't know why he didn't go down. Quite silly, quite frankly, because that's not a case I stay up and I try to have the chance as well, because he wasn't even running to goal, so that was just a bit silly to stay up, quite frankly. But yeah, obviously you touched on it already, Dan, but the offside thing, where do you think the issue lies? Is it the sleeve? Is it how precise they want to be? Should they just be, if it's anywhere within 3, 4, 5 centimeters, should they just go level? How do you see that?
I think it's the rule itself. I know he's been ridiculed for it, but I think Arsene Wenger, is on the right track. I think there should be an advantage to the forward. I think if it's level or, within, again, I'm not the guy, right? I don't know who's going to get the measurements out, but I think there has to be an advantage to the forward. We want to see goals. It's an entertainment business. And, more often than not, when you talk to rival fans and they see like Werner's offside, right, apart from obviously Liverpool fans, but they'll probably tell you, I'd rather that just count. Like, just have the human error, because it's football. And I'll be honest, like, I try again. I keep saying it. I'm going to try to stay rational and balanced, and partly because obviously it was Werner and Chelsea, but I actually felt exhausted and just drained when that got disallowed. Like, I just really did. I was like, and it was a Fulham one, I think, earlier as well. I tweeted on, which it was pretty controversial even for me. But like, 2 of them in 2 hours is just ridiculous. And I think Laurenz, I think it's too specific. I do think that, like, when we're drawing lines to, at that point, there's the whole clear and obvious error thing, right? Clearly, that's not clear and obvious because that machine's going to cost a lot of money, right? He's got to spend a lot of time training to use that machine, and they've got to spend a lot of time actually getting a decision right. So, it's a joke. Personally, it's a joke. I'm done with it. I was kind of like on the fence. I was kind of like, I kind of get the benefit. Now I'm done. It's stupid, and I think we need to go back to human error. You get over it. It happens. We're all humans, right? We all make mistakes. Like, yeah, you're annoyed for the hour or two after, but everyone kind of generally moves on, and it swings in roundabouts, right? It comes back around all the time anyway. So, yeah, I'm a big fan, maybe traditionalist of that, but I would say, yeah, if they're going to change the rule again, I think they have to look at Wenger's idea of giving the advantage to the forward. If it's close or it's a shoulder off, it's got to be forward advantage. It has to be.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, the whole VAR thing, it's a weird one because we saw it against Barnsley, how it is if there's no VAR when Tammy was clearly fouled, didn't get the pen. Then we also saw it against Atletico Madrid, the lino gave offside. Without VAR, that goal doesn't get given, and you don't have that great night. It's weird. Like you said, do you prefer human error? But human error is still equally as involved with VAR. I personally see it, keep VAR, but just they should have worked on it more before introducing it. Like, clearly they didn't think of all the issues that have come up, and they just keep chopping and changing it. Like, how many rule changes have we had during this season now? That isn't fair in itself, because then in some games you have some rules and then in the next game you have a different rule. It doesn't make sense at all. And Jester's put it really well here with the super chat. Big up to yourselves, Jester, for that, saying the spirit of the offside law is to keep the offensive player from gaining an advantage. Meaning, if you need the lines, the player hasn't gained an advantage. And one other thing I want to mention, just because it triggers me, the fact that Werner was the red line and the defender was the blue line, I'm like, we are the team in blue and they are the team in red. Like, I was actually, because I saw that, I just looked at the line, I was like, well, we're onside then. Perfect. But no, apparently they gave Werner the red line. Like, how stupid can you be, honestly?
It's pathetic. And I've seen in the chat here, it's Artine has said, have you seen the BN Sports analysis? Have you guys seen that? Apparently BN Sports have proved that he's onside. And that just makes me feel even worse. Like, and I know someone on TalkSport, I listen to TalkSport quite regularly, and I know someone on there said that, how do you even know when Jorginho played that ball? How do we even know when the contact actually occurred? We don't. It's inconsistent because we still don't know when he actually struck the ball. So, yeah, I think you make a fair point, Laurenz. Like, the VAR is okay. It's maybe the way it's being used and the way it's being interpreted. And we clearly see that Premier League refs are struggling a lot more with it than other leagues, right? So I think that's a fair point. But, yeah, after yesterday, as of right now, I'm done with it completely. Done. Move on.
Do you know what? It's just Timo Werner's luck as well. Honestly, this guy, it would only happen to him like this. Think about the other goals that have been disallowed too. It's just peak. Honestly, man.
Did you see his face as well? It was like he knew. It was like he knew it was going to happen. Like,
he started talking to himself.
He was kind of like, I'm not sure. And even I didn't celebrate. I don't know about you boys. I didn't celebrate because I was like, something like he's way too open. Like, it's way too easy, and it's Anfield.
Yeah. It's also one reason why I didn't celebrate so much is because, and again, I don't want to criticize, but Werner kind of annoys me with how much he's offside, because I'm like, you're so fast. You don't need to be so on the edge. You're faster than all the others. You can't just give yourself that half a yard. You don't need to be right on there. Even though I sound like a bloody FIFA commentator, because that's like almost the saying that they use. But you don't need to be on the edge. You're not Morata. You're not Giroud. Even though Morata is actually quite quick. But you don't need that extra half a yard always to get on the end of it. You could have just stayed off it. And it kind of triggers me a little bit. But it's a tough one. Obviously, you had the one with the Aspie kind of overhead kick assist thing, which Werner in top form probably puts away quite comfortably. And he had maybe one other one where he should have done a bit better with, but it's just not happening for him. And I really hope it does at some point. I have said it before. Unless we play teams like Liverpool, I don't think it will ever properly click for Werner unless out of nowhere he becomes a dribble monster, which he hasn't, isn't so far. If he learns dribbling, at least somewhat towards the direction of like Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, whatever, great. Then there's a big future for him. But until he learns that, I don't know. If you're not proper 9 and not a proper winger and you're not a proper 10, well, then you're going to struggle, in my opinion, unless you're playing a counter-attacking system.
Fair point. John Chapman, I've got the chat here on the right, and he makes a really good point. That is a very good point from John there in the chat. If you get that up, Laurenz. Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on. And being a forward, that is so frustrating when you keep making run after run after run, and they're not playing the ball. Like Jorginho yesterday, I think that's the most I've seen him play forward and try and float the ball. That's not a criticism, but it's actually good to see, right, that he's trying to find that pass because it's always on. And yeah, you make a good point. It gives you flashbacks of Morata a little bit for sure, and like the whole pace thing. You don't need to be offside if you've got that much pace. But I do sympathise with him, and John makes a really good point that there's a lot of times where he's making unbelievable runs and we just don't find them.
And do you know what? Not to get negative, but the biggest culprit for that, and it happened yesterday a little bit, I hate to say, is something he's going to have to learn because I think he's got so much technique. Reece James.
Yeah.
I feel like he just goes risk averse as much as possible. And I think he could take more risk because he's got great technique and great vision. I think he could do it.
Exactly.
Go on.
Go.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that, Jan. I thought I was the only one that thought Reece wasn't great to start. I didn't think he was great at all. I thought he was a little bit tentative. He was playing sideways and backwards. And I'm glad that you noticed that too, because I definitely noticed. And I actually wrote it in my notes. I was doing live notes. And I was like, Reece James don't look right. He was solid. He was 6, 7 out of 10. But we know Reece can be 8, 9. He can be unbelievable. So, yeah, I noticed the same thing. It was like he opened up, right, and he would just go back again. And Chilwell was accused of that a lot under Lampard, right, Laurenz? I think we remember talking about that he used to just go sideways and backwards, and then Chilwell was actually a little bit more expressive yesterday. So, good point.
It's interesting, really, because I, to some extent, also think that has to do with which side we choose to attack more down. Because usually under Tuchel so far, it's been that we use the right much more. With Callum as the right wing back, even when Reece has played, we've actually attacked more down the right. Is it surprised that 9 times out of 10, Mason Mount was the right number 10 and we attack on that side more? Now Mount plays on the left number 10 and we attack that side more? Who's to say? But, just create some more hate Twitter accounts for Mason Mount, why don't you? Because all he does is run, because, why not? But I feel like it's a little bit to do with it. Like, obviously, I agree, actually, Reece that is sometimes an issue. And I think why I get triggered at it is because I know how good of a pass he has in him. I get less triggered at Kante not attempting the ball because I'm less confident that he pulls it off than I am in Reece, if that makes sense.
Yeah, spot on. I agree with you. I mean, Conte's ball to Mount yesterday was unbelievable, but 9 times out of 10, Conte can be frustrating. But I mean, he was unreal yesterday, wasn't he? I'm one of them that, sometimes I'm like, is he the same? And then he just comes out and does that Anfield away, and you're like, Jesus Christ, he's unbelievable. The guy's just unreal. I'm never gonna. I can't. You can't be doubting him. And honestly, you can't be doubting him. He's unreal.
Yeah, I think that's it with Kante. Go on first. Go on, Jan.
Sorry, mate. His tackles just excite me so much, get me off my seat, because you just don't think he's going to get the ball the way he does. And more times than not, when he does get the ball, he makes them fall over and he just walks off, just like. When he's there, he puts people off as well. I mean, you're looking at Kante just waiting for you, like jockeying. You're like, oh, well, I might as well turn around. What's the point? I absolutely love him.
Honestly,
I love him.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think with Kante, the thing is, he is the same in terms of his maximum output, but he can't pull it off as consistently anymore. I think that's where the is he the same issue comes from. And Tuchel even touched on it post-game yesterday, even though it only came out, I think, this morning, saying, he can't play every 90 minutes, which obviously back in the day is what he used to do all the time. And Tuchel actually said, let's international duty, and then after that, maybe we can use him all the time. So maybe still somewhat getting over some sort of injury, whichever that may be. Obviously, how muscle injuries are, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, they kind of take months to actually go away 100%, even though you're fit to play. So who knows what we'll see after that, but that's kind of been Kante's issue the last few years. I mean, even under Frank, he's had unbelievable games. Super Cup against Liverpool. Yes, we lost on penalties, but unbelievable performance by Kante. And even another game against Liverpool, actually. It always seems to be against Liverpool where he pulls out those top draw performances. And maybe a City every now and again, but it is like that. But enough VAR talk, enough negativity. Let's get to some praising of people, because I think after performance like it was last night, I think that absolutely needs to happen. I touched on Mason already. Let's get to him last. Because, like I said in the title, like I said everywhere, Mason Mount and Christensen were already good players. But Thomas Tuchel seems to be on the verge of making them very, very special. And I know it's only been not even 2 months, and maybe that's a little bit getting ahead of myself. I don't really care. We just won at Anfield. Let me get ahead of myself if I want to, all right? So I would just go do that then. And if Mason Mount keeps playing like that and keeps adding goals, also helped that he played on the left, obviously, being able to shoot on his right. Brilliant. But let's go to Christensen first. Who thought that after Thiago Silva picked up that injury after half an hour against Spurs, that for the next, God knows how many games it's been since then, we concede 1 goal, and that's when he doesn't play central centre-back. Like, crazy.
I'll let Jan go ahead, Jan.
Do you know what? Christensen, I've always had a bit of a soft spot for him. I think I always do with ball-playing centre-backs. Like, they just get my respect straight away. Like, I just love it. Aesthetically, that is. And he had this reputation, I think when he was on loan at Mönchengladbach, of being able to read the game really well. Like, just being in the right place, the right time. And he was just immense at that. Even when he came to Chelsea, he was really good at that. Yes, Ajay. But look, to see him drop off and have the inconsistencies, which, you know, kind of circled around injuries or being dropped by the manager. And when I say injuries, I've never known of a player to get as many head injuries as him, by the way. Generally, he's always getting head injuries. I just don't understand it. So then he doesn't play the next game where he may have played, and all those inconsistencies, it's going to happen. And then seeing the fan base get onto his back, it just broke my heart, really. It really did. But seeing Lewis with his AC hive on the timeline is absolutely brilliant. And to see him come back now, come into the team and do what he's doing, I think is absolutely fantastic. I think with a new manager, sometimes you get a absolutely love that. Do you know what?
It's filling up. The AC penitentiary is filling up. Hey, we've all jumped on the train. Let's not kid ourselves. We've all jumped on the bloody train. But no, sorry.
I absolutely love that. That's brilliant. But look, this is it. Now, seeing all of this for AC is absolutely brilliant. And he's come in, and I think his mentality's just reset a little bit. With the new manager, he's come in, he's gone, do you know what? I can get back into this. This is my time to shine. And he's come in, and he hasn't really put a foot wrong. He's been absolutely brilliant. His positioning's been brilliant. His awareness has been brilliant. You know, being in the right place, the right time, and intercepting things. It's just been absolutely superb. So I'm really proud of him. I knew he had it in him. I'm not going to say that I thought he was going to do this, because I lost it a little bit with him, I must admit. But no, for him to come in and do it, it's just brilliant. And I want him to stay long term. I don't know if he will, but let's see what happens.
Honestly, but Dan, your thoughts on Christensen, and then to kind of round up on that. Does Thiago Silva just come in instead of him? Do we have to change it up to make both of them fit? Because Thiago's been too good, and also before he got injured, too good to not play. But also Christensen has since then been too good to not play. But to be honest, other than the own goal, kind of the same goes for Rudiger.
Mental, right? That we're even having this conversation about them three people. It's crazy. Yeah, Christensen, unbelievable. I remember there's a reason that JT said all them years ago, right, that he's going to be incredible. And I think JT, what he meant by that was, I think he saw a lot of similarities with him in the respect of reading the game. Like, I think that's always been one of Christensen's strengths, but where he struggled was he'd read the game and read the pass, but he couldn't execute the next action what he wanted to do. You know, he'd read the pass and then miss the ball or get run over, basically. Right? I think about the Aston Villa one where he stepped out very well, read the play, and then got absolutely bulldozed. So I think that's where he's improved. He's had these reading of the game, but he's added the solidarity with it and the execution of making that tackle. Like, he's blocking the ball. I've never seen him block the ball before in my life. You know, he's always been very pretty. Most academy kids and players are. Like, I've got so many friends, right, who have played academy, and they're nice, they're tidy, they keep the ball sideways and backwards. It's cute, and Christensen's exactly that. But he's added a different element to his game that, you know, I've been very harsh on him before. I did actually tweet a few years ago. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago when I was doing my old stuff that I wanted to see more of him under Sarri, because Sarri was playing Sarri ball, right? And Christensen's obviously very good at the ball. And he never really got his chance. And I kind of left it alone for a bit. And then he came back in and struggled, and I was battering him. I was like, not battering him, but, you know, he's the one player in the squad I was very tough on. But I feel like seeing him now, I'm proud of him, and I think we've learned a lot about him. I think he's a confidence player. I think he's a player that needs an arm around the shoulder. And I think he needs to be told, you know, what he's doing well, what he's good at. And I think Tuchel's done that. I mean, you've seen a relationship, right, on the field. They're hugging, they're having and I think I've really learned more about Christensen as a player and as a person, and what makes him tick. And fair play to Tuchel, he's seen that. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm really happy to see Christensen. You won't see me bashing him. I even tweeted yesterday, man of the match, which was that I didn't think I'd ever tweet that. So yeah, I'm really happy. No agenda there. I'm really happy for him. I'm going to support him fully. In answer to your question, someone asked me this on Twitter earlier, and I replied saying this. No, I think I know this is going to get clipped. Someone's going to clip me and put it on Twitter. I know it's going to happen. I would not bring Thiago Silva back in immediately. No way. I think, bear in mind the position, the form, the statistics. Why change? Like this is not an attacking change. This is defensive. This is the back, the back three, the back four. No, don't change it. Rudiger's been unbelievable. Rudiger was unreal yesterday against. He was marking Sadio Mane, man marking him the last 20 minutes, which is no easy feat. And Mane didn't beat him once. He was unbelievable. And Christensen's been unbelievable. So yeah, no, I wouldn't change it. I think Thiago Silva has got an early spot back. I'm sure he will because Tuchel will rotate anyway, right? So he'll come in very soon. But yeah, no, I wouldn't. If they're all fit for Everton, keep it the same for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fair point. Obviously, we have the Super Jet Gerard O'Connor here. Appreciate that a lot. Saying I've seen Christensen live 3 times at internationals against Ireland. He's a cool customer and a very good footballer. Delighted for him. First of all, again, shout out to Ireland. Why not? Lived there back in the day, so big up. But yeah, that's one weird thing, actually. I really hope he now finally gets to start for Denmark because I'm not sure if either of you know. He doesn't actually start half the time for Denmark, which I still don't understand. And they play like Brentford and Bradford players over him. I always mix them up, so it's one of the two. I'm not sure whether this is necessarily always still the case now, but a few years ago, I did like international roundups at the end of every international break. And he barely didn't start. And when he did, he actually played DM in a 4-2-3-1. Very weird. So let's see what happens this year at the Euros. I hope he starts. I hope he gets to play. But yeah, I mean, Christensen, he's just done well. And to be honest, like you can't 100% disagree with what Dan said here, Jam, can you? Because why would you drop it if it's working so well? And I guess the only case you could make is push Christensen to right centre-back, put Thiago in the middle, take Gaspi out. But you also want the captain on the pitch, and Tuchel has said that on a number of occasions. He wants him on the pitch. Do we necessarily need him on the pitch to win games? I personally don't think so, in terms of we have enough other leaders on the pitch to win us games. In the very biggest games, I do actually agree that having Gaspi on the pitch is very good. Do we need it in every game? I don't necessarily think so. So that's the only real way I see all of them putting all of them in. But it's not necessary, is it, Jan?
No. Dan made a great point. Defensively, we've got the chemistry there. So why change it? If it's not broken, don't fix it. I mean, how many clean sheets have we had? So Man United and Liverpool. What's the point? Like, this is another very, very... Yeah, exactly. And this is another very, very, very big game. And Everton have a useful attack, by the way. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Richarlison, they're amazing players. James Rodriguez, we need to respect them. And actually, let's just keep what's working right now. It's not an attacking change where actually you don't necessarily need that chemistry as much in that sense. You can make more changes. You can tweak things in the midfield. You can tweak things up front. This is a defensive change. We don't necessarily need it. Of course, Thiago Silva can come back in and do a job. Of course. We're not doubting that. But the way of looking at it as well is this is a player that's been out for a few weeks with a muscle injury. Are you really going to chuck them straight back into a big game like this where you don't need to? What's the point? Let's be risk averse. Let's look after him. He's an older guy now. These other players could do a job. And then our next game, we could look to rotate it, get him to start. Absolutely.
Spot on.
Yeah, I mean, it really is that. It really is that. And let's not forget, by the way, as much as Liverpool are, of course, the much bigger name, Everton are in significantly better form than Liverpool. So basing it on that, Everton will be a tougher challenge than Liverpool will be. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still have a very tough game coming up. Leeds won't be easy. Leeds is never easy, as much as you can absolutely batter them. And if there is one game where I hope for us to score bloody more than one goal, it's probably Leeds.
I think we're going to batter them. I really do. I think if we get a goal in the first 10 minutes, we will batter them. I really do. It's Everton, always tough, Everton. Always. Across the years, right? You look at games, apart from obviously the 4-0 last year, always tough game.
Yeah, exactly. Before I get on to, and I really want to talk about Ben Chilwell, because people were talking about an Alonso remontada. I'm talking about Ben Chilwell remontada now. But before we talk about that, obviously not right now because the back three is clicking and working. it will be interesting because I do still believe long-term Tuchel will switch to a 4. Who then those two will be? Thiago will probably be one of them because I don't think he trusts the back 4 without him, quite frankly, until some of the others maybe improve even more. But who do you put next to him? Because Rudiger and Christensen have just both been brilliant. And I think it will be Rudiger, as much as that's going to be harsh on Christensen, because strength, height, pace next to Thiago, I think that's going to be why it's Rudiger. But again, poor Christensen. I mean, Thiago is obviously 36, right? But poor Christensen.
I agree. I'd say Rudiger. German as well helps. Clearly, Tuchel trusts him. Well, he trusts Christensen too. He loves him, but I would say Rudiger out of the two. And then obviously Chelsea are looking to buy one as well. I don't know if you boys saw, but I was told by Simon actually got this one. And he told me I was playing football this morning, so I didn't get it. But apparently Tuchel's now started talks with the club about transfer targets as of the last couple of days. So look forward to a few names being linked now, and I think centre back's definitely going to be one of them, right? So I think it's all good having Rudiger and Christensen doing very well, and they'll be trusted till the end of the season. But I still think Tuchel's going to be looking for a marquee centre back, and then hopefully we push on for Haaland and others.
Exactly. And now that I have you here anyway, obviously I know you have your connections rather in Chelsea than, in necessarily other parts of the world of football more so. But do you, as far as you're aware, is that story that Haaland isn't interested in Chelsea, is that true? Didn't think so. Didn't think so.
No. He's not knocking on the door, right, saying I want to go to Chelsea. He's very patient. He's always been that way. His agency, his family, they've always been very calculated and patient, and they're going to take their time. And look, Dortmund don't want to lose him. I'm kind of regurgitating what others have said, and it's true. Like, most things are true. Yeah, they don't want to lose him. Ideally, they want to keep him, right? But they're also fully aware that they can get a lot of money for him this year. Like 75 million next year is a lot of money, but they can get north of 100 this year, and they need money. So. Yeah, I won't be. If the right offer comes in, they will sell, no doubt about it. It's just going to be, and Haaland wants. I think Haaland's next step would want to be the Premier League. I think that's where he would want to go. I don't see him staying in Germany with Bayern, and I think Real Madrid. I feel like the Spanish teams always come last, if that makes sense. Kind of like Eden Hazard did. I feel like they're always like the final step, and I think Real Madrid are focusing on Mbappe from what I've heard and know, and. I don't see Barcelona buying Haaland anytime soon. I don't see him playing for Atletico. So, yeah, I think all arrows point to the Premier League. It's just going to be who. I think City and Chelsea are the two. I really do. I think it's going to be a case of, who. I really think it's going to come down to as simple as this. Who's going to pay more? Yeah, no, I do think so. And, hey, if he ends up going to Madrid, snap up Benzema. I'll be okay with that. Cue that video of Abramovich walking into the court, whatever it is, the courthouse. I think it's CFC Daily tweets it, and it cracks me up every time. It's just bolted in his suit. It cracks me up, man.
Exactly. There he is. Just make it happen. Just make it happen somehow. But enough of that. Let's get to Ben Chilwell, because I thought it was very harsh at times for him to be dropped in the first place. I'm not the biggest fan of Marcos Alonso. I know he can get us a goal, and he did in one game with that brilliant goal against Burnley, was it? Can't remember. Newcastle, one of the two. And it was great. But for everybody to tell me, Chilwell is not a great left wing back, I'm like, boys, he's played there like 3 times in his career. Give the guy a bit of time. Alonso has played there, 150 times in that exact position. Obviously, he's going to be more suited to it, more used to it than Ben bloody Chilwell. Now he comes in to 2 of the 4 biggest games we've had in the 10 games of Tuchel. Both games, absolutely brilliant in my opinion. Very much so attacking. Assisted the biggest chance we had against United for Ziyech. Took the shot himself. Ball fell to Ziyech for our second biggest chance, if you exclude the offside goal, I guess, for Ziyech again. And just, he doesn't lose the ball. And that's what I like so much more than Alonso. Alonso loses the ball. Chilwell doesn't lose the ball. And I know we criticized a little bit about Reece James, but as much as, obviously being aggressive, progressive, and, daring the ball at times, it's also important not to lose it, especially as wing-backs, when you are in positions, the rest of the team is in transition, you're moving up the pitch. It's important not to lose the ball in those areas. And Chilwell just doesn't. And I just want to shout him out, really, because I was very pleased for him to play as well as he did for the last 2 games. But let me go with you first, Jam. Do you agree with that? Any criticisms of Chilwell? But I'm just happy that he's done so well, to be honest.
Chilwell, he got some miles in yesterday. He was up and down that left flank, and I absolutely loved it. That's exactly what we want to see from him. The only thing I would say about Chilwell is I think he may have lost his confidence a little bit when it comes to actually crossing the ball. In the final third, he just looks like he's snatching at things a little bit, and that might just be a short-term thing because he hasn't been playing. And, yesterday he's starting in Anfield. I know he played against Man United, but, he just needs to get that consistency maybe. Let's think of it this way too with Chilwell. He wasn't exactly on great form before, was he? Well, his form had kind of dipped a little bit. And I think when Tuchel came in, he's just played a guy that he could probably rely on a little bit more. Chilwell's still a young player. Let's remember that. This is still a step up for him, in terms of, mental state, in terms of the team. It's still a step up for him. So there is an element of probably having to look after him a bit. And he's probably worked his arse off behind the scenes, Just because a player's not playing doesn't mean that they're just completely shut out. I think actually sometimes it's a good chance to reset, just hammer it in training, get back to it, learn a new way of playing, which is what he's done. And now we're going to see an awful lot more of him. Yesterday, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Defensively as well, I thought he was absolutely terrific. And that's the Chilwell we know and we love. And, from an England point of view, as an England fan, I want to see him starting for England. And I was starting to worry for him because of the form that Luke Shaw's been on and the form he had been on and not playing. But now if he can carry on like that and get some game time, then I can certainly see him starting for England too and starting for Chelsea. So big up Ben Chilwell for last night. It was absolutely brilliant.
100%. And that's it, because Ben just needs a bit of confidence. And like you said, form wasn't at his very best. I never thought he was poor, but form wasn't the very best. And now he's just finding it again. And he's, pulling through and doing exactly what I would wish for from him. Dan, anything to add to that, or shall we just move on to the next player?
Chili B's the man. He's the absolute man. I love him. Whenever I see him on Instagram and Twitter, he's just such a good. You just want him to do well. He's such a good guy to have around the place, from what I've been told. And he's always, and yeah, he didn't sulk. From what I was told, he didn't sulk. He worked. He wasn't knocking on the manager's door. I know that came out actually. I think someone wrote a report on that, right? Kind of backing that up, saying I think it might have been the Athletic, and that's what we were told as well. That head down, work. He's fully aware that he's got a price tag to live up to, and he's joined a bigger club, right? Than in Chelsea, but just so happy when he does well, and so happy when he's tweeting again, his Instagram, and he's playing, and confidence for him. And Jam, good point. I think if you have Luke Shaw's been brilliant, by the way, and I actually like Luke Shaw, and I'm 99% sure he's a Chelsea fan. So we always want him to do. He is, yeah. So we always want him to do well. But yeah, I think if both of them are on 100% form, I think you start Ben Chilwell, and Laurenz might not share the sentiment, obviously, but I think the more Chelsea players in the England squad, the better, right? It's definitely good to see.
I agree.
And Mason Mount, doing that.
I agree, because then I actually want England to do well. Otherwise, I don't care. And then I can at least support all the other people that I know that want England to do well. And I'm like, yes, I agree. That's why I want Chelsea players to play. But yeah, to move on from that, I guess, obviously, we touched on Kante already. Obviously, I want to highlight both of the top pivot, but we highlighted Kante already. So I want to talk a little bit about Jorginho, just quickly before we get on to Mason Mount, and maybe a little bit of Timo Werner before we end it out here, because Kante was brilliant. We knew that. I think we all expected Kante to start, but I think most of us expected it to be next to Kovacic after they were pretty good against Manchester United. Jorginho is a weird one. Obviously, when Tuchel came in, there was all this talk, he would be the guy that would benefit most from Tuchel, and he loves a player like him, and he was interested in him at PSG and everything else, right? We knew that. Then Kovacic comes in and out of nowhere plays next to Kante, and we're like, well, that's it for Jorginho then. At the start of the season, we're like, Jorginho will sell him, and Frank wants to get rid of him, and, he won't play. Obviously, Billy's injury probably helped that whole situation. Had Billy not been injured, who knows what situation we'd be in, because, let's be honest, if Frank doesn't play Mount as much as he did for the last 18 months, we're probably not in a situation where Mount starts every game on a Tuchel either. And that's not because Mount isn't that good, but because obviously 18 months of Premier League experience makes a big difference when a new manager like Tuchel comes in, whether he trusts you, uses you, whatever else, right? So who knows? But the situation still is that Jorginho is here, that Billy was injured, And Jorginho hasn't had a single bad game under Tuchel. Every game he's played, it's been at least a 7 in my opinion. And I'm impressed. I mean, I like the guy. Everyone knows that. I like the guy a lot. But I didn't expect him to play that well, to be honest. Like, I won't lie. I didn't expect him to be that consistently good. I've never even seen him outrun. And not because he got quicker all of a sudden, but of course, help by the back three. I get that. But his positioning seems to be even better. He had more tackles and assists and interceptions than anybody else yesterday on the pitch, even more than bloody Kante, which sounds outrageous, but he did. You can't ask more from him. He even played the over-the-top ball, which, like Dan said, he's starting to do that more. I thought that Atletico was the first one where he really did it. They weren't good in that game, but he tried it at least. And in this game, he tried them, and more of them started to come off. Obviously, we touched on it already. Shouldn't have been offside. Should have been a goal. Gives Jorginho an assist, and it's a great assist, obviously, if it does count, right? So I'm seeing all of the positive things from him. I couldn't be happy about it. Let me go with you first, Dan, because I know you say you actually like him, but I do, as far as I'm aware, correct me if I'm wrong, you are a bigger fan of Kovacic and Kante. So how do you see Jorginho's, let's say, development since Tuchel has come in?
Yeah, I've always liked Jorginho. Always. I've rated his ability. I see he's not the most aesthetically pleasing footballer, and he's probably not down with the kids as much and the stats as much as other players. But what he brings to the team is you can't diminish that. John said it again very well. One of the hardest things to do in football is play with your back or play facing your own goal. It is incredibly tough. Like, I've played that position, holding mid, and it is tough. Like, you're constantly being pressured. Unless you're scanning, which Jorginho does very well, you don't know what's going on behind you. And one slip pass, and you've made a mistake and they score, right? So, yeah, he's been fundamental to this, to Tuchel's system in terms of playing out the back. He's, as John said very rightly, his footballing IQ is unbelievable. And he does... People don't realise how good he is at the simple things, right? The weight of pass is everything. Everything's deliberate with the weight of pass. Everything's deliberate with whether he takes one touch or two touch. It's all deliberate. It's the very, very finer details. If you've got to really kind of watch your football to know these things and see these things, but it's all deliberate. And even yesterday, he was being pressed by like 3 or 4 players in the second half, I believe, and he absolutely spun like 2 of them. And it's just unbelievable confidence. And you actually trust him now. Like, I actually trust him to do that. And a lot of credit goes to Jorginho, but a lot of credit also goes to Tuchel because, like you said, Laurenz, he hasn't been outpaced, he hasn't been burned, he hasn't been out of position, and that's because of the system. That's because Tuchel has seen his weaknesses, but instead of bashing him for his weaknesses or trying to maybe coach him as much, he's actually coached the players around Jorginho that if that happens, you are there. And if you notice, right, it's either Christensen or Rudiger seem to always be there now. So huge credit to him too. And it's another episode of when you play the right, when you get the players, if you play them in the right system, you can turn them into great players. And the old myth is, I have my system, you fit in it. Whereas I think modern football's changed. It's you play the system that suits your players, and I think that's what Tuchel's doing very well. So yeah, I'm really happy to see Jorginho doing well, and I still don't think he'll be long term at Chelsea, but I'm definitely going to enjoy him while he's here because, hate him or love him, I think he's a very, very good footballer and a very intelligent footballer.
I completely agree. And I also think that there has been a bit of a development and improvement within him that he, obviously, because with how Sarri played and how well he knew that system, he didn't really have to adapt to the Premier League that much because kind of whenever we played, we kind of made the Premier League adapt to Sarri rather than the other way around. So then his Premier League adaptation kind of happened in Frank's first season. And then he kind of just seems to get used to it more and more and more. He has these more interceptions, more tackles on a consistent basis. He doesn't get outrun. He doesn't look physically bigger, but he seems to be outmuscled a little bit less as well. Maybe that's also a confidence thing or just me just not seeing things, but that's what I feel anyway. And that moment when he spun 2 players, it's just that would have been clipped had the following pass not Werner thought he would play the through ball and Jorginho wanted to play it short and then the following pass went straight to the Liverpool player. Hey, it happens. But without that, it would have definitely been clipped more than it has been already. But Jam, anything to add on Jorginho?
Well, the reason I call him the Italian Barry White is because he sets the tone. If you get it, I mean, he's literally there. He just dictates play, and he's just there singing in that tone. He's just there pulling the strings. That's all he does. He's stuck in that mode. That's it. He's stuck in that mode. Sometimes it could be very good. Sometimes it could be very, So, like, I respect him. I must admit, I did kind of start to question him a little bit a few months back, I must admit. But, you know, it's clear to see he has the IQ, as Dan said. He is a smart footballer, always on the half turn in such a position. And I feel like that's rubbing off with Mace, by the way. It is absolutely fantastic. It's so difficult to get the ball off him. It really is. Unless he makes a mistake, it's so difficult to get the ball off him because of the way he receives the ball. And like Dan said, he's always scanning. He's got a picture of what's behind him and in front of him. So he knows exactly where to take the touch. And he might be a bit slow, but he knows how to play with that. So you still can't get the ball off him. So I respect him. I think he's fantastic. He played really well yesterday. I'd like to see him in that kind of formation, of course, because it suits him. He's got cover. But yeah, let's wait and see what happens. I'm not too bothered if he does stay. I'm not too bothered if we end up selling him. But I still respect him. I like him as a player. And like Dan said, I'm going to enjoy him when he plays. I really am.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like our team said, I think that's actually a good point. So many times recently, because of kind of his struggle period under Frank, maybe, you think he's going to lose the ball, but then at the moment he just doesn't. And then not even does he just not lose it, he finds an actually good ball to help us progress the ball after that. I know people say just sideways passing. Yeah, but someone needs to pass the ball sideways for someone else to pass it forwards. You can't just always pass forwards. Otherwise, you're never going to have the ball.
Everyone has a role, and Jorginho has a role. Yeah, the only thing he has to improve is, he's passing. And I don't mean passing, and people will say, well, no, passing is probably his best strength. Yeah, introductory passes, but he needs to improve his, breaking lines, playing over the top. If he did that, he would be up there. Trust me, he would be up there in terms of the best midfielders in the world because he has, for his role, right? And I see someone in the comments here saying Declan Rice can't do what he's doing. Such an unnecessary comparison because they're completely different players. I know we're getting excited and Jorginho's had a good game.
Dan's triggered. But
don't be comparing him to Declan. Come on. They're completely different players. There's 100 things Declan can do that Jorginho can't do. And say Dan's a fanboy, Dan's mates with Declan, whatever, but that's let's not get too excited. That's not a comparison. Let's not do that. I'm still taking Declan Rice every day of the week in our team, 100%.
That's Matty Busquets. Come on.
But I guess now it is time to get to, as much as Dan said, Christensen was man of the match, and I didn't even necessarily disagree. I gave them both a 10. I just had a great night yesterday, so I was just dishing 9s, 10s, 11s out left, right, and centre. I didn't even care anymore. Exactly. So I was just giving both of them a 10.
Another one.
Exactly, just another one. I was giving both of them a 10. But in terms of winning us the game, and, we've been great defensively in a number of games recently. But the problem was we didn't take the chances. And, against Southampton, we scored one. Also Mason, by the way, winning the penalty, scoring a penalty. But we needed another one because we had one defensive mistake. And then yesterday he just turned up. He turned up with, obviously, the ball by Kante was good. I still don't think it was, people painting it like it was the most magical Fabregas Xavi ball of all time. He just punted it long to the left, right? Let's not, in my opinion, right? People might hate me for it, but in my opinion, he just punted it long to the left and Mount controlled it, all right? That's it. But anyway, he cuts onto his left, goes past Fabinho, makes him look like a right mug, and then just curls it into that corner. I'm not sure if either of you remember that goal that David Luiz scored against Roma at home in that 3-3 draw, where David Luiz just curled it around those 2 or 3 players right into the side netting. I love a good curler. especially, obviously, top corner curler is all well and good, but they look better when it's bottom corner because you can just see it bending around the feet of the defenders, and it's just what a goal that is, what a moment that is, what a moment for him to step up. And I've been saying that for weeks. I've been saying that before Frank was sacked, when Frank was sacked, and under Tuchel as well. The one guy that's always going to try his very hardest to drag the entire team out of the mud, even if everyone else dropping a stinker, is Mount. It's not going to be Aspie. It's not going to be Jorginho. It's not going to be Kante. Not going to be anybody else. One guy, Reece will try, but Reece is a little bit quieter and has obviously his days where he struggles a bit more as well. Mount might have a bad day. He's still going to try to drag the entire team out of the mud, and he won't stop. And even if he does, I guess, against Southampton, starts, dishing out nutmegs left, right, and centre, the guy's got it all, other than maybe the final pass at times. But that can be worked on. He's 22, all right?
22, yeah.
Exactly, he's 22. But that goal, that goal, that moment, obviously, and then the celebrations. Man's doing a Frankenstein. Man's doing a Kamehameha. Like, it's just sick. Although I don't know why Chelsea didn't tag Naruto on Instagram. Like, come on.
Oh,
like,
God. Don't start me
mix it up then. But honestly, let me go with you first, Dan. But any praise you have for Mason Mount, now's your time.
Nah, he's useless. Get rid of him. He's crap.
Clip.
Imagine being one of them people, one of them accounts. Like, honestly, you've got, there's a screw loose somewhere. Like, the guy. I'll put no more super ladders for the guy. The guy's incredible. He's dead serious. He's a serious football player. He's going to give you 67 out of 10 every game, at least every game. Even if he's playing, it's not quite coming off. He's always going to give you that. And yeah, I think the only thing he's got to improve, like you said, Laurenz, is his final pass and his finishing. But he's doing it. He does stay behind at training. He does work on that. And you can clearly see the goal against
Sheffield.
Was it Sheffield United? Yeah, left foot, right?
Yeah.
What a finish. The technique on that, by the way, unbelievable. And that's left foot. So he's definitely working on it, and it will come. And that's scary. When Mason Mount gets that final pass and that finishing consistent, he is going to be frightening. Because that's the one thing you can say he's not. And it's not like he hasn't got it. He's got it. It's just not consistent. But when he does that, then what? Then what? Then what are you going to hate on? And he's going to be massive for England and Chelsea moving forward. And obviously we had his dad on, Tony, last week, and it's just such a good family. Such a good family, so humble, he just works. And I can't believe not every Chelsea fan in the world adores him, because the guy is just simply incredible, and he is proper Chelsea.
Yeah, honestly. And to me, and maybe you'll know this better than me, Dan, he has this weird shooting technique where he just is on his, like, whatever you call it, the left foot in that case, right? And he kind of just leans back and bends the knee to get lower. I don't really know. I feel like I've never seen anyone lean back while you shoot and not sky it. I don't really know how he does that or why he chooses to do it. But I feel like he does it on even corners and free kicks. And whenever he shoots from open play, he kind of just does this bend of the knee and leans back and then gets under it. I don't know how he does it, but I love it. He just looks like he's going to fall over, and instead he scores a goal. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. But Jam, anything, obviously, we'll get to Dan anyway if he can explain that shooting technique. But Jam, like Mason Mount, brilliant.
Do you know what? I need to come up with a new nickname for him. I called him a Duracell bunny, and it was because of his industry, right? And I meant that in the best possible way. But then you've got people like Mark Goldbridge that actually use that as a bad thing, that players that can only run. But Mace has got so much more to his game. It is absolutely unbelievable. He could actually do everything. And the Mount haters, I hope they... Do you know what? Actually, yesterday I was drinking their tears. When that goal went in, I was there just like this. Oh, was it Mason Mount that scored? Did he just take on Fabinho and just whack it in, bottom corner? Yesterday, I tell you what, Mace played like it was a game where Chelsea were going to get relegated. He was possessed. Yeah. I personally thought he was man of the match. And then I'm not taking anything away from Christensen. I actually as well thought they were both 10s. But Mace, every time he got the ball, the Liverpool players were dancing. Like, they were like literally like, what is this? I have never seen him take on so many players in the way that he did. And before the game, I tweeted out saying it was that goal Eden Hazard scored from the right at Anfield in the League Cup, the ridiculous one where he took it past the team and shot from that tight angle. I tweeted out saying, we need somebody to do this. We need someone to inherit Hazard's spirit, because he used to play so well at Anfield. And I was hoping it would be Hudson-Odoi. Mate, I was wrong. It was Mount. Mason Mount yesterday was absolutely untouchable. And you know what I love about it? Like, when you're stepping up to the first team or, to an elite team, sometimes you need time to adjust mentally to it and to actually realise you are a part of that team. You're a key player and you can make mistakes. That's football. And that, what I mean by that is that you then get to a point where you try anything that you think is the best thing to do. You're not scared of doing anything. And Mace is finally there. He will just do anything to get the back of the net, to get his player in behind, on goal, whatever it is. He will do anything. He's not scared of the consequences. I love that about him. The guy is absolutely brilliant. Yesterday, he looked like he was called Mountain Tino or something. I don't know. He looked Brazilian. It was absolutely ridiculous. And I just can't wait to see this boy rise. And I looked, I don't encourage betting, but I happened to look at this yesterday. I was looking at the odds of England midfielders, who's most likely to go. Mace is second out of all England midfielders. Declan Rice, Mason Mount. There's a reason for that, honestly. This guy is absolutely brilliant.
They both of them have to go. They just simply have to. You know, Mace, yeah, like I said earlier, when he gets that final product, he's going to be scared. And the thing is with Mason, like just talking to his dad, Tony, a little bit more and kind of knowing him, challenge. Mason always looks for a challenge. He doesn't look to be comfortable. Like he improves one thing, it's like, okay, what's next? You know, he makes this level. Okay, what's next? And just, you know, I don't know if you guys listened to it, but Tony said it a lot. Like Tony warned him, and he was like, "Oh, this might be one too far." Mason's like, "Don't be stupid," and he just hits target. But it's not target satisfied. We're good now. I've made it. It's okay. What's the next one? What's the next one? And he's just hungry, and like he's aware now of that. People were saying that he's finishing and his final ball needs to be better. Well, now he's just bagging for fun. Like he scored 3 for 4 goals in the last few games, and trust me, it's not going to be very long before Mason gets that down. And then it's going to be, all right, what's next? It'll probably be captain, right? And what's next? You know, it's honestly so exciting to see what Mason's going to do. And anybody that calls him overrated, you're an absolute fool.
Yeah, exactly. And like his touch is so good. Obviously, that goes for pretty much everybody coming for our academy, maybe bar Tammy, to be fair. But still, like, that his touch is so good. He just doesn't miscontrol a ball. And this is no slander of Timo Werner, but then when I see a long ball put to Mount and it's just straight there on his foot, and when it's to Werner, he has to run after it for about 5 yards until he actually controls it again. Like, it's just so good. And, you know, Jam said in terms of mentality and getting ready to play in this elite team, I would argue that the rest of the team need to catch up to Mason's mentality rather than the other way around. Yeah. And that goes for almost the entire team, quite frankly. It doesn't matter whether they're nearly 30 or plus or 24. Honestly, the guy is really special. And people are telling me, obviously, he's overrated. He's good, but he's overrated. And I see where people come from with that. And obviously, after a game like that, we maybe overhype it a little bit, right? But let's overhype it a little bit. Like, there is a moment when to overhype things. And one of those moments is after you get the winner at bloody Anfield in the Premier League for Chelsea for the first time in 7 years. When, if not then, do you hype players? Like, what's the point in always being, always relaxed and, 100% objective, sorry. Like, and I'm not even trying to tell you guys, no, you two, Mount isn't even that good. Not what I'm trying to say at all. I'm just saying, yes, maybe we're overhyping it a little bit, talking about him so much, but that's what happens when you score a winner like that. We did the same with Hazard. The same happened bloody with Mbappe 2 weeks ago. He scores a hat-trick against Barcelona, even though his rest of the season was, to his standards, not even that great. And now everyone says he's better than Messi. And the same goes for Haaland. Like, as if people just ignore that Messi still exists. Like, I know he played in the same game, but still.
Disrespect. Writing off Lionel Messi is insane. But yeah, no, I don't even think it is overhyping him. I think Mason's just that good. I really do. And I think people are starting to realise that now. And long may it continue. And Robin George called him Werner Torres 2.0. I will take no Torres slander on this platform. I don't want to hear it. Torres is unbelievable.
Torres is. Obviously, he won the corner. He scored in the Europa League.
I'm blocking you straight up. Block. Done. Move on. Don't be calling Torres the block around me. Absolute legend. That goal against Barca, 50 million right there. Bang. Next.
No, it is fair. And the last guy I want to touch on before we round it out here, because we've gone for a good while already, is Timo Werner, who is, obviously, Dan kind of said it already earlier, hold your horses. Just because he was good yesterday doesn't mean he's going to be good always. But I did still enjoy seeing him play against a team where he actually can use his strengths, because we don't get that very often. And when we played against Southampton, the rest of the team, quite frankly, didn't help him use those strengths. Against Liverpool yesterday, the team, the setup, it was all there to help him use his strengths against a team where that's actually possible. When we play Newcastle, you're not going to see Werner's strengths. He has to play around what he's got. He's not got the best first touch. He's not the most brilliant dribbler. He's not got the best weak foot. He's not even the best finisher. But when he can use his pace and he can, be a bit sneaky and get around places, the offside, let's just ignore it. Let's pretend we won 2-0. He was very good yesterday. And I'm just happy for him. I just saw an interview that Chelsea uploaded with him earlier on their YouTube channel. It's just a good interview. He's just a fun guy, a good guy. And, you know, man was in that interview. He was talking to the guy, obviously, Zach, recently on this channel. Like it was his best mate. And he was telling him all the stories, you know, mugging off Kai Havertz left, right, and centre. So I was just very happy to, yeah, honestly, like I was just happy to see him like have a good game. And even though he didn't score and didn't assist, I was just happy to see him have a good game. And I just hope that he can find confidence that even against teams that doesn't suit him, he can be decent enough, if that makes sense. But let me go with Jam first on this one, and then we round it up with that.
Yeah, Timo. Do you know what the thing with him? He just looked like whenever he had to do an action on the pitch, whether that's dribbling, trying to control the ball, trying to shoot, he looks stiff, and that's the sign of someone that's a little bit overthinking things. Let's just say, or maybe a bit nervous. But I'd rather say overthinking things. Someone that's lost their confidence a little bit, thinking twice. And you need to be a bit more instinctive, especially as a striker, you know. And I think these kind of performances will help him. I mean, a goal in a big game like that would have helped him to no end. But he played well. He was very, you know, making all of these runs, and they were well-timed runs, maybe, apart from the one that was ruled off, you could say. But I liked how busy he was. This, you know, that's one of the most annoying traits as an opposition player, is playing against someone that's really busy. And I think he really was yesterday. It will come. It will come. I don't want to overhype that performance because I still think there are plenty of things to work on. But it was promising. You know, against teams that play a high line, let's play them up front. Leicester City, when we play them again, they play a high line. Let's play them up front against them. If he's firing, then it's going to come with Timo. I think he just needs this season, get out the way, have a pre-season, which didn't really exist. Have a pre-season, settle in with the group. Tuchel's still there, settling in with the group too. All the players know each other that little bit more. And next season, we're going to see the best of him, I think. But yeah, just be patient with Timo, I think.
I hope you're right. I still do believe that if we get Haaland, Werner will be the one that suffers most, and then the summer after he'll be sold. But hey, hopefully I'm wrong, or maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. But that obviously a lot depends on that we actually get Haaland. Other than that, this is a pointless discussion. But let me go to you, Dan. First of all, maybe overall thoughts on Werner, maybe in touch with that Haaland, what I just said, but yesterday's performance as well.
Yeah, he was good yesterday. He was good, and we're talking a lot about him individually and him as a player, but I keep bringing back Tuchel, right? It was good for Tuchel to actually play him in a system that suits him. And it's the same with Christensen and Rudiger, right? We saw the best of Timo Werner yesterday because he was given an opportunity to show his best. We've got to be fair to these players. Like we know his strengths and we know his weaknesses. So play to his strengths. That's your job as a manager, right? That's your job as the coach. You know, you've got to find the best system and opportunities for your players. And that's what Tuchel did yesterday. It's taken a while. He's not really said in interviews that he's going to do that. And he has to, right? Let's be honest. It's 55 million or whatever he was. You've got to find that system. And yeah, I'm not, Laurenz, I wouldn't be surprised if you were correct in the end, right? That he might not be incredible. He might be sold if we sign a big signing in the next. I wouldn't be surprised if you were right. But I'm not ready to give up on him yet. I don't think you are either. I think you're just making that point. But yeah, I still think that we can see Timo Werner bag. I really do. I still think that we're going to slowly implement this system, and we're going to switch it up a little bit next season, right, where we will see the best of Timo. So I'm really excited for that. But hey, like I said earlier, let's just preach with caution. Let's not say, oh, he's back, because every time that happens, he drops back down again. Most players do, right? They're overhyped, too much attention on him. But yeah, I think good signs, and let's keep it going. Let's keep playing a system that suits him, because we want to get the best out of our superstar signings like him. And he's got a lot of potential. He's still very young. He's still adapting. And I think if we can get him clicking, he will bag. And just finally, yeah, his mentality is fantastic. He's really good to listen to, right? When you watch him interview, he's just really good to listen to. And he's got a very mature head on his shoulders. He's got a great mentality. And he never gives up. And with people like that, he's like Mason in that way, right? With people like that, you know, playing against them, fighting against someone like that in the street, anything like that, right? You just can't write them people off, and you don't want to, because they will never stop. And I think Timo's got that. I think he's going to keep pushing until he can till he can and will succeed. I don't think he's got the same, problems as maybe a Morata or something like that. So yeah, I'm really excited to see Timo Werner come on, but let's just be, one step at a time here.
Exactly. No, I couldn't agree more. The one last question I want to put to you: do you think it's possible to see Timo Werner's best if we sign Haaland and play in the same team? Is that physically possible?
Yeah.
Okay. And what system do you think that is possible? Because I'm not sure.
It has to be. I think it has to be a 2 up top. I don't think it's going to be like a 4-3-3. I think having Haaland as the obviously as the main figure, the peripheral figure up top, and then Werner. But for me, right, something that I would love to see, and I think it's going to be unfortunate, right, for like a Ziyech or a Pulisic. I would love to see Haaland if we get him. Haaland, Werner, and Havertz just in a fluid front three. I think that could be unreal. And I know people are going to highlight the things such as, well, there'll be space out wide because they both all naturally want to come in. But if there's a guy that can coach that and get that going, it's going to be Tuchel, right? The guy is he's tactically brilliant. He's got his flaws, but tactics is definitely not one of them. So if you can have Haaland up top and then Werner, Mason or Havertz, Mason has to play. So I'm not saying if we do put Mason, we'll go somewhere else. Mason has to play. But yeah, if you can get Haaland up top with Werner, Havertz or Mount, just doing one of these.
Hey, you know what you're explaining right now? Have you ever heard Dammy talking about that Kai Havertz should be playing as a 9.5?
Yeah, I love Dammy. Love that guy. He's fun, man. He's a great guy. But yeah, I think really just getting them guys buzzing off him because Haaland, he's brilliant, and he complements wingers, right? You got Sancho and obviously Marco Rose with him at Dortmund, but he's not a Giroud. He doesn't just need balls in the box, right? He's involved in the build-up play. He can actually swing. He actually moves a lot along the side, and he's very good at linking up play. Unlike Werner a little bit, he's very good at that. And I think if you got Mount or Havertz playing that ball into him and then just bouncing off him, give and goes and flicks around the corner, and Werner's running in behind. Oh, it's a madness.
Yeah.
Get it done, Roman. Get it done.
It's the peak.
Exactly. Honestly, I'd be so hyped.
Oil price has gone up. Come on.
Hey, 5% they said it's all done. It's all done already. We've signed it. Paper's been sent off. It's all done.
I was hyped when we signed Havertz. I think signing Haaland would be different. It would just hit different, as kids say.
Honestly, just wait another year. We'll sign Mbappe the summer after. Roman's had enough. Roman wants another.
I know, right? I will say though, it's way too early to get excited, and you're going to hear about 84 different clubs, including Wolves, probably linked with Haaland, and it's way too early because he's going to take his time. But Chelsea are definitely serious contenders, 100%.
I agree. Obviously, I don't know it as well as you, but I agree at least. Yeah. But we're going to leave it here. We've been going for an hour and a half. I really do appreciate both of you guys that have joined. Of course, check both of these guys out on Twitter. The link's down in the description. Also, check out the Chelsea Social, which, of course, Jam is a part of. I really hope all of you guys enjoyed the stream. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. So every new subscriber count, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the like button. Let's hit 100 likes. I don't know how many we're on. Probably quite close. So make sure you smash the like button. Let's get 100 likes, even more if you fancy it. But yeah, consider becoming a member. There's a join button underneath. But yeah, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. And I'll see you next time.